it too slowly. Were those gonna lift me up this time? You were the only one who got me tripping up inside. All the words you told me, am I reading something different from your eyes? See you for a moment, even hope that I can feel you. I see you, all that I wanted was to tell you that I need you. I see you for a moment, even hope that I can feel you. I see you, all that I wanted was to tell you that I need you. Now I'm finally right here with you. Now I'm finally right here with you. Your voice is getting nearer, heart is pumping, thoughts are running wild. We got a good thing going, while we got our feelings amplified. Staying to the morning, countless hours spending by your side. You look at me, I'm soaring, seeing all the truth behind your eyes. See you for a moment, even hope that I can feel you. I see you, all that I wanted was to tell you that I need you. I see you for a moment, even hope that I can feel you. I see you, all that I wanted was to tell you that I need you. Now I'm finally right here with you. Now I'm finally right here with you. Your voice is getting nearer, heart is pumping, thoughts are running wild. We got a good thing going, while we got our feelings amplified. Staying to the morning, countless hours spending by your side. You look at me, I'm soaring, seeing all the truth behind your eyes. How can I make a perfect world, a place where you and I will work? You put me in a box of words, no longer feel like life's a blur. You wonder what's on my mind right now. It's how you sound. The first time we grow up is the sun. Do you wanna change the way we made things work out? My mind's upside down. How can I make a perfect world, a place where you and I will work?
Hello, Susan. Hello, Susan. Nope. Susan called me a moment ago and then immediately disconnected. Okay, are you with me this time?
Yes, I am. Can
Okay.
you hear me okay?
Yeah. You did.
You know
You
what
did.
hap
Hmm?
you know what happened is I called you on Skype and I heard the do 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 through
Mm-hmm.
Skype, and then I heard the echo on Twitch,
Ah.
and I thought that we were calling each other,
Oh.
and so I hung up. So I muted Twitch and everything's fine now.
Okay.
Oh dear.
At the start, where you are, oh, I would not change a thing. You are dear, you are flawless. Will you fix my broken wing? On a ledge, can you see what you know you're
Is there
looking
some
for? I am
I noticed that
sure
the
I've
chat feature
forgotten.
on Twitch seems to be showing up over your photograph.
Yeah, I added that off your last month session.
Okay.
This way, I'm getting chat when I'm gonna get chat showing up in the recordings.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And by the way, the people in the hood were asking where the bird lady was
Oh dear.
because they were missing the chirping.
Oh dear. I think we're gonna have to have a vote. Do we want pre-tour music or pre-tour chirping, or both? I'm logging into Moon right now, and I have to get my coffee too.
Yep.
So that bridge on there, that is from Deribo, right?
That's
For
correct.
Myst Rock.
Yeah.
This won't last forever. We'll be all gone. So I give it to you. I give it to you.
I turned down the desktop audio, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me a little bit better. But I've got my microphone and my feed through my through OBS turned up all the way, so I have no idea why I'm so quiet.
Are they still complaining you're quiet?
Yeah.
I realized at the last tour that my mic was set to 70 instead of 40, which is why I was too loud. 40 is the setting that's good through Skype, and 70 is the setting that's good through Moola voice chat for me.
I don't know if this made any difference, but I just tried changing some settings on my computer. I'll be killing the music in a few minutes, and that'll help.
Oh, Frobos is saying much better, Larry. And so, how is it that you get music on here? Is it like a plug-in or?
No, what I'm doing is I'm playing the music out of a player on my desktop, and then my studio has a way of importing whatever's playing on my desktop.
Oh wow.
So it's indirect, but but the effect is the same.
And so the program's called Pretzel Rocks.
Yes. It's a way of getting digital rights free music, meaning that I don't get sued for it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Joker Sam, I've gone quiet.
I think that'll be the first time you've ever been accused of that.
Oh, thanks a lot. This is the pre-tour insult, just to keep me humble. last tour, you threatened to replace me with Zeke.
This beat is my recital. I think it's very vital to use the force for good, of course. Our Skywalker, that's my time. Here we go. If I were a Jedi, I could out-rap Buster Rhymes. Going in like Qui-Gon Jinn for the win, I could flow in quadruple time. And at the Canadian border, every time I went on tour, I'd be like, this is not the undeclared MC Lars merch that you're looking for. I could levitate like Yoda out of ratty Cape Ebola. I could pick up girls literally, even master the viola. I could read all of War and Peace in 10 minutes entirely in Russian just to say that I did it. I could even catch a golden stage playing Quidditch.
Wait, wrong movie, innit?
Pod racing up the 101, surpassing Golden Gate traffic. R2 on the roof of my Prius, dude. I could FaceTime holographic. I'd play for the A's and we'd win every game. Resurrect Mac Dre, do it all for the Bay. They'd all say, hey, Lars is Vito, and always let me cut the line of El Farolito.
Okay. I found the problem. For some reason, your microphone was turned off in my studio program, and I didn't do that, so I haven't the faintest idea what happened.
I think the trick for you and me is to get our mics at the same level. That way everyone can adjust his or her speakers.
Never gonna happen.
Oh dear. So spatial, Larry and I have the same approximate volume. I'm quieter. Okay, I'll turn mine up a little bit. Turn mine up from 40 to 50. Is that better? Now they're complaining they can't hear the music. Just kidding. He says he can't. He
Actually,
says,
yeah, I turned it down a little bit because I was trying to make sure that they could hear us over it.
okay. Yeah, I know. She said she's not complaining. well, I better get my coffee. So I'm going to mute myself for a little bit so you don't hear percolations. Okay, I'm back. Larry, would you mind vocalizing and text chatting your YouTube channel and your and the specific Facebook page where you also live stream the tours?
Well, let's see. Let me get into my folder here.
Rawa's mother just logged in. Rawa's mama.
Hello, darling.
Does everyone know who Rawa is? You better say yes. Richard A. Watson, scientist Richard A. Watson.
As I lay me down to sleep, I hear them speak to me. Hello, Mari, how you doing? I think they're snoring out over in the clouds and more. I know you're happy, 'cause I can see it. So tell the voice inside your head to believe. I talk to God about you.
Okay, I just put up the stream information in the stream chat.
Oh, great. Thank you. Someone sent me a picture of you coned.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, you're completely coned. I didn't even notice.
yeah, Ro did that. Yeah.
Is that a form of hazing? Is this what hazing is in the cavern?
I take it as a sign of affection.
Yes.
If you knew how proud I was, you'd never shed a tear, have a fear, no, you wouldn't do that. And
For those who don't know, Ro is one of our more mischievous players. Rojet.
You'd have never guessed.
Oh, Ada did it?
Oh, he did?
Attaboy, you
Oh,
did
okay.
did you cone Larry? Admit it. Oh, hi, Murphac. You know, I need to know, should I be pronouncing it Murphac or Mirfac or some other pronunciation? Uh-oh, Rose behind you. I don't know, he's up to no good.
No, it's just putting them up on their tips.
Holy smokes, the crowd has doubled in the last 5 minutes.
And I'm killing the music now, since it's just about time for us to start things up.
I'm going to do my last bit of cat herding. I don't know, Carrie. Uh-oh, someone's in his Relto.
Oh, thank you ever so much, Murphac, for telling us that we pronounce it like you pronounce it in French, which we haven't the faintest idea of how you pronounce it in French.
Oh. You know what? French is probably Mirfac. And American is Murphac.
Well, considering that the only vowels that they normally pronounce at the end of a word in French are C, R, F, and L, wouldn't it be Murpha?
Well, in German, the I is pronounced E, if I recall correctly.
Depends on the situation.
Or maybe I'm misremembering my German lessons.
No, you're right, but it does it does vary.
So your last name is Fontenot, right?
That's correct. One of many, many, many French variations on the word fountain.
Oh, okay. I think everyone's here who's going to be coming.
Hmm. And I guess it's time for you to introduce us and get on with, so we can get on with things.
Alrighty, get the shoe on the road, as Arte says. Welcome everyone to our ninth Cavern Tour this year uh, of the 2020-2022 series of Cavern Tours. Today we will be traveling to a location that can be quite noisy at times. It has a power source. It's very, very noisy. And so what I would encourage each of you to do is open up your audio settings in your key and turn down the first three sliders. And I'm going to open up mine so I can tell you which sliders those are. Sound effects, ambient sounds, and music. Does everyone know how to open that up? I know on my computer I can press the F4 function key and then click on audio settings. Or alternatively, if you hover your mouse over the lower right corner of your screen, you'll see a wrench symbol and you can get at it there as well. All right, this fine gentleman to my left, Mirfak, I will point at him. He is the owner and operator of the bot, Mirobot, and he's going to be providing a lot of special effects for us today because this is a fairly large age. It would be easy to get lost. It also has certain types of equipment like ladders that if we climb those ourselves with such a large group, there's a danger the age might actually crash and we'll get kicked out. And so please wait for Mirfac to transport us from place to place. Should you become separated from the group, all you have to do is PM the word find Larry or find CT to Mirabot, and he will instantly transport you to Larry or me. Does everyone have Mirabot as a buddy? If not, I'm going to type the instructions in the text chat. It's also a good idea to buddy Larry and me. And you can buddy Mirfac too. With that said, does anyone have any questions? And also, are Larry's and my mic volumes okay? Yeah, buddy everyone. Well, I buddy all of you the best I can. Alrighty, Larry, it's over to
Okay.
you.
In that case, I'm going to assume that the bot is in position, so we're
Well, let
just
me
going to,
check,
yeah, we're,
make sure.
we're going to be sending a private message to the bot, the word
Actually,
link.
he's not in the right
Oh,
place.
he isn't. Okay.
No. Let me send him there if I can.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he's there. I don't know
Okay.
if he's standing in the right place within the age, but he's in the age.
Hopefully Murphac can correct that and make sure that he is, and then let us know.
Alrighty.
Um, they're talking about various bots that were in the game, and quite a few of them have gone down the road, down the tubes, so to speak, for various reasons. As a matter of fact, I think Murphec has the only operational bot in the cavern at the moment.
Mm-hmm. All right. Are we ready to go?
Does anyone remember one called Lyrobot?
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
anyway, let's go ahead and link to Murphec or Mirabot.
Okay. If everyone can please PM the word link to Mirabot.
And I need to get this on the screen. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Oh, there
We've
it
still
is.
got 7 here.
I'll go ahead and start talking while we're waiting for everyone else to arrive, since the nice thing about the stream is that nobody has to be within chat distance.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to Gahreesen. When Yisha included Gahreesen in the Path of the Hand, she chose it to convince explorers that Denis was oppressive and controlling and went out of their way to prevent the least from rebelling against them. Toward that end, she took passages from the writings of Urpa out of context as a way of setting the tone. For Gahreesen, she chose Book 12, Entry 32, Item 134. And hang on just one moment, please. Let's add. I should have set this up beforehand, but I'm old.
Ethan is saying he can hardly make out what you're saying. Is anyone else having problems hearing Larry? I'm assuming you turned off your music.
Yes.
Yeah, Malum in Twitch chat is saying you're low too.
Pink Elephant, actually, I am older than you are.
The laws contrived by the proud are their security and their undoing. Such laws make disobedience a virtue and obedience a sin.
Okay, that's not working. Trying to set up some to play something here, and it's not cooperating at the moment. So let me see if I chose the wrong thing. Audio, display, game image. Let's try this and see if it doesn't. No, cancel that. Actually, I guess what I can do here is just play it. If I go to the folder and then
The laws contrived by the proud are their security and their undoing.
for heaven's sake,
Such laws
that wasn't what I wanted.
The laws contrived by the proud are their security and their undoing. Such laws make disobedience a virtue and obedience a sin.
Okay, did everyone hear that? Okay. That was a quote from the writings of Urpa, Regeltav of Urpa is in Denis. And Yisha had left a book with several of those quotes tied to various ages on the Relto bookshelf. She continued her attempts to sway explorers in her Rudina Baro cave recordings. These were her words about Gahreesen in the cave. Oh, I did it again, didn't I? Sorry. I need to change this association sometime.
Let me tell you of King Karath, dare I speak ill of him. One of the great kings, but yet he was the maker of the proud, for it was his system of guilds that served as the foundation of power and corruption. The powerful need control, fortresses and garrisons to guard their power, and soon the guarding is yet another thing to be proud of. Layers within layers built to preserve their ages and their pride from the weak and least who might attack from without. And yet it is from within that most nations fall. And so the mighty garrisons of Denis now stand vacant.
Now, that was what she had to say. But Yisha had an agenda, and what she said. Sorry about that, Mindwalker. This is still a work in progress. But what she had to say was deceptive, because she bent everything to try and advance her agenda. As was her custom, she had taken a place that was built for a very specific purpose and only told us what she wanted us to believe about it. She never gave us a hint about its true history or purpose. She even lied about the guilds of Denis by implying that Karath created the guilds and that they were universally corrupt and power-hungry. So what was the real story? Karath was the youngest of 3 sons born to King Rukuth and his wife Hisha. His mother was a devotee of a prophet named Gish, who taught that King Alcindar was not the great king predicted by the ancient prophet Urpa, as so many Denis believed. Because Karath was raised on the doctrine of Gish, and because he'd watched his father arguing with his advisors about the perceived need to cut off ties to outsiders, the people of other ages, Karath decided at an early age that the monarchy was no longer the correct way to govern Denis. This wouldn't have normally mattered since he was not heir to the throne, but later events changed that. Shortly before dying, Rakuth decided to make Karath his heir, and Karath evidently decided it was a sign that the time had come. Not very long after his coronation, he proposed that the monarchy should be suspended until the coming of the true great king, and that the empire should be ruled by a council made up of leaders of the major guilds. How people were supposed to recognize that coming after the monarchy had been abolished was left out of the proposal. Karath's reign was not marked by any great civil projects or monuments. In fact, he didn't actually accomplish very much that could be considered kingly during his time on the throne. Instead, he spent most of it convincing the Denis people that it was right to change the way that they had been ruled for thousands of years. But that was a much harder task than one might think. The Denis were a highly conservative people, and such a major change in the way their government was organized met with considerable resistance. That Karath was able to accomplish the task within his own reign was nearly miraculous. He did it by carefully wording his arguments as being beneficial for the guilds, and through them, for the ordinary Denis citizen. After all, he argued, Denis is the guilds. Let us be protected by their fortress and ruled by their wisdom. It was because of that Karath was considered great. So much so that the Arch of the Great King was later renamed to the Arch of Karath after his death. The honor was not for what he accomplished as a ruler, but because he was able to reinvent the entire government of the empire within his own lifetime. Was the council system he set up as corrupt as Yisha portrayed it? Absolutely not. Or at least, no more so than any other government created by human beings, and probably a lot less than most surface governments. Corruption often arises from an imagined need for control of the citizens of a country, or because a bureaucracy or individual government employee wishes to gather power or wealth. The guilds were integrated with every aspect of Denis life. In a very real sense, the guilds were Denis, as Karath said. So what need would they have had to gather more wealth or power? They already possessed all that could be had. Let's talk about the age now. Gahreesen was a private age that was commissioned by and belonged to the Guild of Maintainers. The Guild of Maintainers were the law enforcement agency for ages outside of Denis itself. Maintainers were responsible for approving newly written ages, and they conducted regular inspections of ages to ensure their proper upkeep. They examined newly written descriptive books and destroyed those found to contain flaws. They were also responsible for Denis relations with non-Denis people, who were called Arotante in the Denis language. This word literally means others, with the connotation of someone who is not part of one's own group. They worked cooperative with the Guild of Writers and with the Denis City Guard, a law enforcement organization that was responsible for policing the Denis caverns, regulating traffic, and protecting the king. A modern analogy would be to think of the City Guard as an urban police force and the maintainers as a sheriff's office. Around 8500 DE, the maintainers created a small but elite division that was given the job of researching and testing technological advancements. It was for that division that Gahreesen was written. The maintainers who were headquartered here were a highly trained elite, both physically and mentally. Because of the sensitive nature of their work, operational security was considered crucial. The age was conceived as a layered fortress that was as close to impossible to breach as they could make it. After two buildings in the age were constructed, after the two buildings in the age were constructed, and the necessary linking books were written, they were made to spin by means of water power, and constantly rotate to prevent any unwanted links from being created, because a new linking book cannot be written in a place that does not stand still in relation to its surroundings. Gahreesen also served a very different purpose. The larger of the two fortress buildings had a maximum security prison built into its highest stories, which was accessed by a completely separate set of linking books than the rest of the age. It was impossible to get from the prison to the lower parts of the building unless you jumped off the roof, and if you did, it's a very, very long way down. Not long before the fall of Denis, the smaller of the two buildings was open to the public after a fashion. Under strict guard, normal people of the higher classes were allowed into the age to be issued key devices. They were still distributing them when the fall of Denis occurred. By the way, the name of the age, Gahreesen, is derived from three Denis words. Garo means great or mighty, Aria means to protect, and Senaren means building or structure. Thus, Gahreesen means a great protective structure, or in other words, a fortress. As this is somewhat close in meaning and sound to the English word garrison, the DRC, Yisha, and explorers alike have all used garrison when writing or speaking about the age. It was Victor Laxman who was in charge of restoring Gahreesen, with assistance from Chief Structural Engineer Michael Ingberg, and it was Laxman who discovered the existence of the key devices. Restoration engineer Michael Simpson was Laxman's assistant for the project and studied the age over the course of several visits. He wrote his first impressions of Gahreesen in a notebook with entries made between November 1st of 2001 to June 4th, 2002. His first notebook entry had this to say: "Okay, one thing seems immediately obvious. This place was built for security. No one could write a link anywhere in this place or the next. It was obviously a maintainer facility of some kind, and doesn't seem that it was for general guild members. By that, I mean it was limited to at least the higher-ranking members. As to how they got the first link written here, I don't know. Probably while it was under construction. It does seem pretty obvious that it's not going to happen again unless something major happens to this place. I should say that Kodama has some theories about the age that have held up so far. May have been a special forces of a sort for the maintainers. Started later, mid-8000s. Became somewhat of a research and development arm for the Maintainers Guild. I don't know, worth mentioning though. There are quite a few mentions of such groups in other docs Kodama has found, or at least seen. Simpson's notes continue. Entrance. To begin with, I wager that no one other than a high-ranking government official or similar ever made it to this room. That's just my guess, but it seems pretty sound. I don't think any school buddies or girlfriends dropped by to see their maintainer friend. The linking book we found was deep within the Maintainer Guild. I'm sure it was well guarded in its day. You can see right off the bat that the entrance was extremely secure. Thick walls, one door, a high window, sniper maybe. If you manage to get in with a bomb or something, it's not going to do any noticeable damage. I love the maintainer symbol on the floor and everywhere else you look, as though I might forget and wonder where I am. Speaking for myself, when you first link to Gahreesen, you arrive in a pentagonal-shaped room that's open to the sky. The arrival point is in the exact center of the room and is marked by a plate on the floor bearing this symbol of the Guild of Maintainers. In one of the walls, the one I'm facing, and up above the Maintainer symbol, here, let me point at that. Whoops. Never mind, Susan's already doing it. You'll see the opening that Simpson thought might be a sniper window. It allowed maintainer guards to watch arriving visitors. The center of the room is the only place where a visitor can normally link without a machine to time the connection. Because the building rotates, any other location requires one. The room has a single armored door that leads to the building's interior. Now I'm going to pause here just for a moment. Are there any questions about anything that I've set up to this point?
We're debating what that round circle is above the book. Like, is that an eye? Is it a head? Do we know what that represents?
It is an eye. You'll notice that there are two things on the sides that represent the white of it.
Okay.
So it is an eye overlooking a linking book.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Ethan Ever, I give him credit. He says he learned it in the earlier tour. So he has a better memory than I do.
Okay.
Oh, Larry?
Yeah, we've got
Um,
several questions over there.
Oh yeah, you go through them in as as you wish.
Okay. Anyway, Jamie Marchant is asking, why do linking books put you here instead of in the wall? That's because before the building was rotated and they could write linking books to this age, they wrote one for this specific spot. When you write a book, you stand or sit in the place that you want the link to appear, and then you write a description of the things that are around you. This ties in with the descriptive book that actually wrote a link to the age itself. And you can only have one descriptive book, but you can have as many linking books as you like, since they tie into the descriptive book. But the thing is that the link appears or is created where you are standing when you wrote it. And then Korovev writes, the circular corridor defeats the design a bit. I'm not quite sure what he means by that. Dormant Hyde is asking, is there access to the room behind the window? And the answer is yes, we'll be going up there even later on in the tour. Okay.
Attaboy asked a question, but I'm not sure he's right. He says, does Gahreesen prove that journey cloths save their exact spot while the shell cloths do not? But I think the shell cloths do save their exact spots, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
You have, whenever they would put up one of the journey cloths, when Abaro it created a journey cloth and put it up somewhere, you always appear in front of that cloth, or to wherever the cloth is pointing, I should say. So when, for instance, we have a journey cloth that goes to a particular balcony, like the palace balcony, and it always goes there, nowhere else. And I believe Spatial K was asking something about stars and planets and all that. Those are outside of an age. In other words, when you create an age, the writer is describing a specific environment, or as close to specific as he can get, and it only encompasses a certain amount of space. So when you're writing a linking book, you're tying in to the descriptive book and you're describing a specific place within the age. But the trick here, that allows Gahreesen to do what it does, what is that when you're writing that linking book, you do have to be stationary in relationship to the rest of the age. Susan, you were saying, talking about key coordinates only showing up in the cavern. That's actually because none of the maintainers markers are doing their second job. But I'll be talking about that again a little farther on. But in theory, it is possible for key coordinates to show up in an age. Okay, did I miss any questions? Oh, Jamie Marchant, if you were not stationary, what would happen? The answer is nothing. You would not be able to create a link if you were not stationary in relationship to the rest of the age. You basically write the book, but the linking panel would just show static. If you were in a, Jamie is asking, if you were in a cavern, what would you link into? Okay, I'm not quite understanding that phrase, but basically, does a link ever move? And the answer is no. That's actually part of the trick in Anone. The fact that the links that allows you to solve the puzzle is the fact that the links never move.
Yeah, okay, I wonder if we should keep moving. It's 11:30 already.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and take this into the next room.
By the way, this tour will be done in 2 parts because it's a big age.
This is described as the waiting room, and Simpson had this to say about it. So visitors are escorted into this little waiting room. There's a window on one side that looks like a ticket window, and that would be, whoops, I keep clicking on the wrong things. That one over there is the one that he describes as a ticket window. Maybe to turn in weapons or goods that aren't allowed. Maybe books. I'm sure they didn't want books in here. Yeah, looks like mainly for books. There's another ticket window on the other side, although this one looks different. And that would be that one over there. I'm pretty sure those are beetle cages on the other side. Beetles that sought out ink. Somebody was just telling me there are all kinds of references to them in other docs. You didn't make it past this room with a book. As well, the doors never open at the same time. So even if somehow you make it out of the entrance room, you're still not going to make it past these mammoth doors out of the waiting area. And yes, after leaving the arrival chambers, visitors entered this reception room where they were directed to the window on the left where they were inspected by guards with scarab beetles. The beetles would smell the ink used in the linking books and would become agitated if they did. Visitors with linking books had to turn them in at the right-hand window for storage. Once cleared, the visitors were allowed to enter the corridor to continue. Though the open door through the open door behind me, the down elevator is visible, and that would be over here. The up elevator is farther down along the corridor and is powered if it has a lit maintainer symbol on it to show it's ready for use. Each elevator is one way only for security. The doors are heavy and extremely thick. They operate via electrical motors and have sensors built into them. The sensors detect key devices and determine their program's security level. If the key device is of a level authorized to access the room or corridor beyond the door, it opens. If the key device does not have sufficient privileges, the sensor flashes but does not open the door. Key devices given to explorers have a high enough security clearance to open all the doors on the first floor, but can only open the corridors on the second floor and not the rooms. Strangely enough, the explorer's key devices will open any of the doors in Gahreesen 2, which was a building with tougher security than Gahreesen 1. And let's walk out into the corridor. Simpson said about the hallway, "Looks like the hall ran along the entire circumference of the building. There are plenty of rooms. I'll just try to hit them one at a time. First is an elevator, though. However, looks like it's only down. Wonder if it was always that way. More security, I guess. Once you've made it into the halls, there's still nowhere to go. At least if they want you going anywhere. There are 9 corridor sections in Gahreesen 1, by the way. 5 on the first floor and 4 on the second. The doors are relatively simple double doors that slide to either side and are about 4 to 5 feet thick. We're now going to continue on to the locker room. So that's off this way. Simpson's note about this room: I would think that any books that were brought to the age were kept in the lockers. I'd imagine that some of the workers here or frequent visitors also kept some equipment, but I could be wrong on that. Looks like they kept some maintainer gear as well, markers, helmets, etc. Seems a little out of place, honestly. This locker room is where the guards stored confiscated linking books. Visitors were not allowed in here. It's unknown whether the books were returned just before the visitor linked out or if they delivered to them later. But considering that the books in the lockers were the ones they had on the day of the fall of Denis, it's more likely that they were returned later. The room still holds a rather large number of confiscated linking books. Why there were so many here was a mystery until Dr. Watson revealed something in one of his letters to explorers. It seems that the Denis, who regularly traveled to other ages, routinely carried a spare linking book that would link to a safe location in case of an emergency, just as explorers carry their Relto books today. Back in his day, Atris always carried a linking book to Myst Island everywhere for the same reason. Maintainers' markers are something that we've mentioned in other tours, but they are devices that were set in every age approved by the Guild of Maintainers. In the locker room, in this locker room, there are a supply of marker units that have not been used yet. There's one that is fully assembled lying on the floor. There are 9 shafts standing next to me, which do not have the devices on them yet. Those shafts were probably driven into the ground before the caps were attached and activated. The caps themselves contain the valuable components, So most of them are being kept inside the lockers. One locker to my right and another one over to my left a little further down. You can see the orange glow of the markers. And I was mentioned that I would cover a little bit more about those while I was here. In regards to what the markers did, first off, they were the sign that an age had been approved by the Guild of Maintainers as being safe for use. Secondly, they provided much the same function as the Denis Zero. In other words, they formed the core of the Denis navigation system for the age that they were set in. Therefore, the marker's location would be the 000 point for your key device to read out your location. However, even though that their function has been confirmed out of character, somebody actually examined the files for them and found that function in them. But we have never yet found one that has actually been activated. We do know that they have 3 states in the programming. One is on, one is off, and the other one is a broken state for the ones that flicker. Okay, let's see. 1240. Do we have any questions about anything that I've covered up about this room in the corridor? Okay, I do not see anything at the moment. So let's go ahead and move into the next room. Oh, I see what you're saying. Let me go ahead and adjust that, Susan. I should be able to do it. Camera. Back when I first set this up, but there we go.
That looks funny. It's like, Larry, zoom in, Larry, zoom out.
Well, that's exactly what's happening.
Okay, now you're more avatar size.
Yep. Okay. I'm not playing any sound effects. I have them all turned off in my game, Carrie.
Thank you, Zeke.
Oh, by the way, it looks like both Zeke and Arte are here. Zeke was the person who first came up with the idea for the Cavern Tours and was the host for most of the seasons of it. And Arte was the main lecturer for the nighttime version of the tours, which was generally on Friday nights. He wasn't, because of other commitments, he wasn't able to do it again this year. But he knows even more about this stuff than I do for the most part. Yeah. By the way, I do have, since we've got the full group here, I'll say this now. I've been in contact with Richard Watson for a long time, and have actually managed to talk over 30 new Denis words out of him during the time I've known him. But his memory of things isn't the best. And so he put me in contact with Ryan Warzecha uh, in order to have somebody to bounce my tours off of to see if I'm making any major gaffes. And when I sent him the Gahreesen lecture notes, he surprised the heck out of me because he passed them on to Rand Miller. And between the two of them, they've apparently made a decision that they're going to provide me with corrections and, I guess, information to improve the tours, and they're going to sign off on them. So in the future, it looks like these tours will be officially sanctioned by Cyan Worlds. So I'm a bit chuffed about that because it means that we may have a chance here to learn stuff that we never heard before. See, I'm rather excited about it anyway. Okay, anyway, getting back to the tour. Simpson's notes about this room. Okay, things are becoming a little more clear now. Just had a long chat with Laxman and researched some different docks over in the city that Nick had. Looks like the current condition I'm seeing was not the original condition. The key was a major development of not just for the guild, but also for all citizens. Turns out that they were just starting to hand out the keys to the public around the time of the fall. Nice timing. So it looks like they had done some renovations in order to facilitate the mass amounts of visitors that would be coming in order to retrieve keys. Turns out my little girlfriend analogy was pretty much completely wrong. Girlfriends and more were going to start coming in here, at least to the open sections. Kodama correct me, but we've never found multiple books in the we've actually found multiple books in the neighborhoods, as well as the guarded maintainer book I mentioned earlier. Whoops. So visitors come in, walk through the doors, beetles check for books, they walk down the hall into the key room, get a key, and link out. Guards were probably at the elevator, which is just behind this room. If they did happen to bring any illegal items, they get them back from the other side of the locker room and off they go back home with their new shiny key. It makes more sense as to why the maintainer paraphernalia was in the locker rooms too. Probably a little display type of thing for all the visitors. Impress them. Now speaking for myself, the key devices were originally only issued to the maintainer's guild members according to some sources. However, shortly before the fall, they began general distribution of them to the rest of the Denis people. This room is the only one that visitors could enter other than the reception room, and even then it was probably under supervision. After receiving a key, the visitor was immediately required to link to Nexus using the book next to the dispenser. Key devices were given their name by Victor Laxman, who discovered them. The Denis number 3 was inscribed on the back of the first device he found, and it looked like the letters K and I to him. Simpson thought that the locker room was set up to impress visitors, but that's unlikely to be true. The contents of the room were too sensitive for the maintainers to have allowed anyone else inside. Note that he believed that confiscated linking books were returned to the visitors in the key dispensing room. I doubt that because of the number of books found in the lockers. If they were returning them right after the visitors were issued key devices, I can't imagine them having so many visitors in here at the same time, and I don't think they would have needed to lock them up. The room across from us through the doorway is the up elevator. Visitors could only go here or into the elevator and nowhere else. The elevator was an express to the roof with no stop on the second floor of the building. The downward elevator worked the same way. And now we want to go into the next room, which is right over this way. If you fall down in the pit, don't worry. You can just send a private message to the bot, find Larry, and he'll put you up here with me. Simpson called this the warehouse and said, "Quite a bit of goodies in here, all of which I'm sure most visitors never saw. Pretty bad cave-in from the floor above, although Ingberg says structurally the place seems all right. He's doing a more detailed inspection soon. Looks like most of these crates are filled with key maintenance type equipment as well as a variety of spare parts, etc. I don't know. Laxman will have to give this place a good inspection. I'm sure he'll love going through it all. Beyond me, I know that. And for myself, this room is empty now and has a large fissure in the floor across the middle, but the DRC seems to have moved all of the crates of equipment that they found here somewhere else, but we're not told where that might have been. The next place we're going is the beetle room next door. But one thing to notice while we're here is that if you look over this way through the rubble, you will notice that there is actually a door over there where Yisha put her journey cloth. That would have been the original way into the beetle cage room.
Larry, do we know what caused this huge crack in the floor?
No, we don't. There's nothing written as to what happened to cause the damage to this particular building. Darkwing Duck says, "I got angry." And this is the last floor, the last room on this floor, and of course has the window that looks out in the onto the reception room, where they would have checked for linking books. In here, we have a number of cages, which all have an abstract figure of a beetle on them. Simpson said, "Convenient cave-in. Not sure how one is supposed to get in the beetle cages without it. No idea how they did it. Link, maybe. Regardless, pretty positive the cages were for beetles. Symbols on the front and quite a bit of remnants in some of the dirtier cages. We'll have to clean those up. Wonder when they all died. Speaking of access, another question. How'd they get to the second floor? Elevator skipped the middle floor. More security, I suppose."
Folks, please do not climb any ladders here. You might crash the age.
Okay, now we're currently in the scarab beetle cage room. Currently, it can only be reached through a crevice torn in the corridor wall. Originally, though, there was that doorway into the warehouse room. That's now blocked by the rubble from the collapsed section of the ceiling. Simpson evidently did not climb over the rubble and find that door. When the DRC first found this room, there were remnants of dead beetles in the cages. Victor Laxman was the one who had them cleaned out. We know that Gen actually discovered the scarab beetles here in this age, and it was using them as an example that he wrote them into the Age of Riven. So, because of that, we actually do know what the scarab beetles looked like because of their appearance on Riven. If you will, I'll switch over to the stream if you're looking at the game at the moment, and you'll see a picture of one of the beetles. They also make pretty good music from what I've heard.
So I'm sorry, Larry. I might not have remembered this. So the beetles sniff the ink or produce the ink?
Both. What happens is that one of the ingredients in the special ink that was used for descriptive and linking books was made by grinding up these beetles, and they could smell the bodies of the remains of their kinsmen, so to speak, in the ink, and it disturbed them. Basically, it kind of made them go crazy. So that's how they could tell that somebody had a linking book, is because of the reaction the beetles had to the ink.
And that photo was from Riven, right?
That's correct. As I mentioned, Gen had found the beetles here, realized what they were for, and so he wrote them into Riven.
So he smokes Eitram and kills beetles.
For ink, yes. And he's definitely got a thing for using the wildlife in creative ways. It's a little hard to tell, Curie, how big the beetles are, but I assume that they're maybe somewhere around the size of the palm of your hand, maybe. Matthew, it's called the Starry Expanse Project. And that one has been in development for something like 11, maybe 13 years at the moment. So I wouldn't hold your breath while waiting for it. Okay. Okay. When the DRC first found this room, by the way, there were remains of dead beetles in the cages. Victor Laxman cleaned them out. There's a persistent myth among explorers that the scarab beetles used for ink were native to Gahreesen. However, there's a problem with that idea. They were an ingredient in the ink used to create linking books. So if the beetles came from this age, how did the Rhone or Denis make the ink before 8500 on the Denis calendar when the age was written? It's known that Gen, as I mentioned, visited and found surviving beetles. However, these beetles can also be found in the Ink Age, which is one of several ages written as a source of materials for the Guild of Fine Artists. My best guess is that the beetles, trees, and giant sea pods known to be used in the making of books were all native to Gardernay and were written into other ages for the same reason Gin wrote them into Riven. They knew that Gardernay was doomed, so making those resources available elsewhere is just common sense. However, on Gahreesen, it may just be a case of them importing the beetles to use in detecting the linking books and having a few escape and flourish in the environment locally. Their importance to the maintainers here was in the fact that the beetles could smell the ink used for linking books and reacted strongly to it. A guard would stand at the window behind me with a small cage with beetles in it to check incoming visitors for books. If detected, the visitor will be escorted across to the other side of the room to the locker room window to turn them in. Okay, and that's it for the first floor. Uh, any questions before we move up? No, because they exist in several different ages, as I mentioned before. They're in the Ink Age, which is one of the ones that Cyan or that the DRC never released. They were here in Gahreesen. They were on Riven. Uh, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were several other places besides, because the Denis considered them a very valuable resource, and therefore would have ensured that they were widely distributed. No, we do not, Briggs. If there are any, if there are any names for those for the special paper or the ink used for writing linking books, it's never been mentioned. To give you an example, that we know another age that perhaps they might have put them in just on general purposes is an age called Venolim, and that was another ink production age where they giant seed pods that existed in cold water lakes were grown by the Denis in order to help to produce ink. Murphak, we're ready to go up to the second floor whenever you can take us up there. A question was asked earlier, can we go up to the room behind the sniper window? And the answer is, here we are. The pods, the pulp inside them was used for creating ink. It was one of several ingredients that included the beetles. And so they would set up, these pods were huge. We're talking building sized, something like 2 or 3 stories tall. And so they would hollow them out, leaving just the shell. And they actually, in that age, used the shell of the pods as living quarters after they were done mining them for the pulp. Okay, going
Can
back.
everyone see this this sentry window where I am?
Mm-hmm. Getting back to Simpson's notes, destruction was a little more substantial than I thought. Looks like it tore out a section of the outer wall even. I'm going to get out of here until Ingberg can come back again. Then he continues, been a few days, but I'm back. I'm no expert, so I guess I'll have to trust Ingberg, but he says the whole thing is one of the most solid, heavy pieces of construction he's ever seen. It's safe, he assures me. If I die here, and somebody retrieves this recording, please sue him for me. The second floor looks similar to the first, outer hall and number of rooms. Have to remember that if very few people probably ever walk these halls. There is no access via elevators, stairs, or anything else to get here. I assume it had to be done via a linking book, which is probably somewhere in the city. I suppose there could be a way to stop the elevators in the middle floor, but I doubt it. Regardless, this floor was extremely secure, book access only, I'm guessing. And Simpson was correct about the notes not having a stop on the second floor. That can be confirmed by just walking around the corridor, because you will not find an elevator door anywhere. Access to the second floor would have been through linking books written before they began rotating the building, and linking would only have worked by timing the moment that the book is touched down to the second. It's suspected that the books would have been kept in a high security section of the Maintainers Guild Hall in Denis. In other words, for a link to this floor to work, they'd have a timer set up with the linking book. And when the link was lined up to where the link or where the book was set to work, then they touched that and link through. But if that link point was somewhere else in the rotation of the building, it wouldn't work. He also mentions a room called the Guard Lounge and says, next to the observation room, at least that's what I assume it was, is what looks like a guard lounge. Looks like they stayed here for long amounts of time. There are beds in here as well as couches. I assume these guys manned the window observation post while visitors were coming in. And I'm assuming that the room he's talking about is across the gap in the floor behind us. Most of the floor to that room is gone. Let's see, where am I? Okay.
Whenever I cross that wood plank, I have a tendency to kick the cones onto the first floor. Am I the only one?
Not at all. In any case, where we're standing was the observation room. It contains the sniper's window. The guard room mentioned, as I said, it was either the room across the gap or the room behind us through the door. Due to a higher security level requirement for keys on this floor, none of the doors into a room can be opened by explorers, except for the room with the electrical generator. This space was once two separate rooms, but the floor collapsed, dropping the dividing wall into the lower level and blocking the door into the beetle cage room. Another room that we can't get into is one where that he describes as a guard locker room. And he said, more lockers similar to the set downstairs, although these are manned with some heavy equipment. I'm sure Watson will want to see this stuff and keep it locked up well. In fact, I'm not even going to go into detail about it here. Laxman can write all this stuff in a report later. I will say I didn't know that Denis had these kinds of technology. And now we're going to exit the room and head to the gear room with the electrical generator. And I am there now, so if you want to shortcut your way here, you can find Larry. I have all the game sounds turned off because they interfere with people who are actually present in the game. And Simpson writes about this room. Now I see why this floor was so secure. Looks like the whole power structure for this building is here. Amazing construction. The entire building looks to have been powered by some underground water source that caused it to turn. They implemented a gear that would grab onto teeth in the ground outside and provide them with a power source as well. Talk about killing two giant birds with one stone. Pretty amazing. Power looks somewhat complicated. Seems as though there were at least occasions that power was turned off, as there are obviously controls to do that, and then started again. I'm heading to the top. Now, regarding this room, the first thing that you have to know about this building, which is known as Gahreesen 1, is that it is primarily underground. Both of these floors are. We are set in a socket in the ground, which is carved to provide a place for the gear to grab onto. And so we are moving, whereas the ground outside past the gear is actually holding still. Excuse me, as far as turning goes, the turning is accomplished by hydropower. In other words, they have water going through and hitting blades under the building to turn it, sort of like wind turns a windmill. And so the buildings are, since the day that they were first allowed to start spinning, have been turning continuously and will never stop until the day everything finally breaks down from old age. So to provide electricity in this building, they put in that gear, which is hooked up to a giant generator, and that is how they generate the electricity for lights to power the doors, the lights, and all of the other electrical requirements. So it's not a matter of the generator providing electricity to turn the building. It's exactly the opposite. The turning of the building provides the motion that powers the generator.
You know, I've often wondered why they didn't get dizzy, and it's kind of like being, socks in the clothes washer when it's spinning.
Because it's not traveling as fast as all that, and you would get used to it pretty quickly. Especially since you can't see anything except the sky that's revolving through the center shaft. It's basically the same reason why you don't get sick in a subway train. If you can't see anything relative to your motion, you feel it less. Briggs, actually, it's the exact opposite. The further towards the center of the building, the slower you're turning. In any case, the second floor of this building was forbidden to visitors. Simpson thought that the only way to get here was by means of a linking book and used in conjunction with precise timing, which of course is correct. The rooms are also restricted. When the explorer walks on this floor, his or her key will open the corridor doors, but not the rooms. When you go past one, note the center lights. Doors you can open flash a blue light once and then open. Doors you can't open flash a green light twice and do not open. I'm standing next to a panel here, and this is the master control panel for electricity to the building. From right to left, the first switch is for the power panel itself. The second connects the panel to the generator. The third powers the up elevator. The fourth powers the down elevator. And the building's interior doors are automatically powered while the generator is running. To provide maintenance for the main generator, it had to be shut down. So what they did was to put a weight system over on the opposite side of the room, over here, and that is attached to a smaller generator. That emergency generator could be used to reboot the system after the main generator had been serviced and was ready to turn back on. Presumably, one man would operate the emergency generator here while others activated the main one. Okay, do we have any questions up to this point? Curie, I had mentioned earlier what Simpson saw in those rooms. One of them was a guard lounge, one was a locker room with sensitive equipment in it, and so forth and so on. Okay, whenever you're ready, Murphak, we'll want to go to the roof. And have patience with us, please, because getting up to the roof from here is always a pain in the backside. We may wind up crashing once or twice and having to log back into the age or the game. Somebody's asking about the music for this age, and the one thing that has to be kept in mind is I cannot have the music for this age running. It's copyrighted, and I'm recording this as videos on both Facebook and YouTube. Not to mention the fact that when I have an agreement with Cyan that I can use any game resources except for the music. Gary, if we could have a no crashing allowed on the tour rule, we would, but unfortunately, hang on just a sec. I need to answer a message here.
My PMs to Larry are really private because they're streaming, but at least it gets his attention.
Okay. Yeah, I was answering her PM there. Carrie, no, we cannot use the elevator because the problem there is that when you use the elevator with this many people, there are always problems. It glitches out big time. Not to mention the fact that it's a choke point. Can you imagine one person at a time trying to get up that elevator to the roof? How long it would take?
Actually, the roof is in the same instance. It's just far, far above us.
It's more or less a different model, which is part of the problem. Oh, nice. We aren't all falling to our deaths.
Well, we're falling to our real toes. Oh, well, my screen is.
Ah!
Oh, here we go.
Never mind.
Okay, we're here. Okay, you need. Oh, I went to Relto for some reason.
Yep.
But go ahead, Larry. Did anyone else go to the if you Reltoed out like I did for whatever reason, just PM link to Mirabot, and then PM find Larry to Mirabot.
Not at the moment. I'm in my Relto.
Oh, we did link.
Yeah.
Okay, we did
Okay,
fall out.
let's see.
I saw you on the roof for a moment on Twitch.
I was. And then I tried moving.
Oh dear. Oh. Okay. No worries. I guess everyone PM link to Mirabot, please.
As the saying goes, it wouldn't be a tour if this didn't happen at least once.
Larry, if you don't mind, maybe I could take the elevator by myself to the roof, and everyone could link to me, or should we
Actually,
wait for? Perfect.
I had that exact thought and just ran over here, but the elevator is disabled. It looks like it's not opening up for me.
Maybe the power's off.
Probably. So.
Or you're at the down elevator instead of the up elevator.
Oh no. I give the tour. I should know where the up elevator is.
I know, but I didn't want to say that out loud. I didn't. Okay.
Anyway. Okay. So at this particular point, we're going to have to wait for Murphac to get us sorted out. Another possibility, Murphac, if you can get me up to the room, or I should say, or you're more likely the bot. Then we can.
Briggs is saying she's up. I'm sorry to interrupt. Briggs is saying there's a bunch of people up there, so if you PM find Briggs,
Okay.
Briggs, to the bot, we should all be able to get there.
Let's see. And boom. I am linking out again. So no, so linking to a particular person is not working.
I think that's because the roof is a subworld.
Something like that.
Uh-oh. I'm in the second fortress for some reason. A bunch of us are.
Okay, no idea how that happened. Oh,
Well,
I wound up here too.
everyone's
In that
everyone
case,
is linking to Mirabot, and that's where Mirabot is.
yeah. Well, this is completely out of sequence.
I'm gonna run over to the bridge and jump to the roof of Building 1.
Okay. Anyway, while we're all trying to actually get there, I'll go ahead and start talking so that we don't waste too much time. Simpson wrote about the rooftop of Gahreesen 1. Wow, I thought this building was big. The main building is absolutely giant, and rotating too, of course. Hehe. Okay. That was interesting. Now my avatar's going nuts. Okay. To get to the other side, looks like one had to walk across a bridge to the rock pinnacle. The first place since we've arrived that we're able to save a link, and it's not big. There's a massive structure facing you if you did. Pretty funny to try and picture an army invading, all of them bunched up on this stone waiting for those bridges to rotate. What the? My gosh! The creatures! These things are something out of a horror movie. I've been up here a little while and I don't see them often, but when I do, they are scaring me to death. I'm beginning to understand the fences and structures a little better. Perhaps some of them were designed to keep creatures out more than to keep visitors in. Don't hang out in these woods unless you have a big gun. Another bridge. To reach the main portion of this place, more security. I will say that the platform between the bridges seems to have eroded. At one time, crossing the bridges was probably a security feature to ensure manageable groups would approach the larger building one at a time. But I would wager it's still a lot easier than it is now. The erosion to the platform between the bridges has made it a little rougher. I suppose the maintainers would like it even more in its current condition. Something to note is that the roof of the building has layers of defense which are all pointed outward. That leads me to believe that the Dani were very worried about the local wildlife. The roof is ringed with towers that are festooned with spikes, and layers of electrified wire are strung around the building. The creatures mentioned do not seem to come into the river valley very often. Certainly no explorer has ever seen one, although they can be heard. I have a recording of their calls, which I'm going to try and play for you now. So let's go ahead and here we go. So this is one of the recordings. So yeah, uh, whatever makes that noise, I don't know what makes that noise, but whatever it is, certainly sounds big. Something that you'll notice is that the central well of the building that down into the arrival chamber is also protected, which means that it's likely to at least that at least some of the danger seems to have come from the air. The outside area that we're in right now is known as Gahreesen 3. The second building, the taller of the two, is called Gahreesen 2 by the DRC. And it has much heavier security doors than the original. Like Gahreesen 1, it's rotated by water channeled through an underground tunnel. However, let me see, excuse me. And because of the creatures here and other reasons, the DRC suspended exploration. It's mostly inaccessible, though much of its beautiful scenery is seen from the buildings. Dangerous predators are said to live in the forests of Gahreesen. The area is a river valley surrounded by forest-covered mountains. It contains a lake that's fed by two tributary rivers. There is one large river that drains the lake. The current from this river system is strong enough to provide the water power that rotates the buildings. You'll also notice that the valley contains a number of rock spires. The middle rock spire is used to transition from Gahreesen 1 to Gahreesen 2, and Simpson said it once had a larger surface area, and a visitor could just step across it from one of the bridges. The edges have eroded over time, so now it's necessary to jump across the gap. The system of rotating bridges and the size of the middle rock spire helped the maintainers control the amount of people who could get across at one time. The fortress buildings are both sited on a single finger of rock that extends out into the lake. To help defend Gahreesen 1, the Denise sunk the entire building into a socket cut into the rock and then cut a dry moat to separate it from the rest of the mountain. There's a smaller pillar of rock in the moat that can be reached by jumping off the building's bridge. However, it's much lower than the bridge, so it's impossible to jump back. That pillar holds the maintainer's mark for this age. The two fortress buildings, of course, are armored and have spikes, shields, and electric fences to keep animals out. And once we get everything sorted out, we plan on taking you out on the lake in order to see the fortresses from other angles. Let's see. Murphak, while we're trying to sort ourselves out by jumping across to Gahreesen, to the middle pillar, can you start setting up the platforms for us? Everyone, what we want to do now is to jump across the gap to the middle pillar. So we're all going to go there. Also, for simplicity's sake, if the last place... No, I take that back. That won't work. I'm sorry. So yeah, whenever you're ready, go ahead and make that jump over to the middle.
Is everyone but me on the roof of the first fortress now?
No, I'm still standing on one of the bridges of Gahreesen too. And I've got a few people with me. Waiting as this bridge slowly turns to come around to the middle again.
Yeah, I believe in the game files, speaking out of character, that each of the fortresses is its own subworld,
Yeah.
and the inside of Fortress 2 is a different subworld. I don't know which subworld the central pillar with a cloth
Okay.
is located at.
No, there's three different models all put together to make up this age, not counting the prison, which is a fourth. And so you have the two rotating fortresses are their own models, and then the age itself, all the scenery and that central pillar are a third model. And that's what makes it so hard for Murphac, because these things are not really put together all that well. Oh, I forgot to mention that when we're inside Gahreesen 1, that is a different model as well. So the roof is one model, the interior is another model, the prison is one model, Gahreesen 2 is one model, and then all of the scenery is a separate model. This is one of the most complex things things that they did programming.
I think what we're going to have to do, each and every one of us, is to have your avatar jump from
That's what I
the
said.
fortress, the bridge to the pillar to Fortress 1, because
That's
Mirfac
no.
is located at.
That's what
I'm
I
sorry.
requested a few minutes ago. Is that everyone make that jump?
Oh, I'm sorry. I kept rail to wing out. I got
Yeah.
distracted.
So at the moment, I'm just waiting for the bridge to finally get around to where I can make the jump across to the pillar myself. Oh, it looks like we're finally getting there.
So, if you're at the second fortress right now, if you're in the second fortress right now, PM find CT to Mirabot. If you're on the first fortress, congratulations. Please proceed to the roof.
Actually, I don't know if that'll work, but we'll find out. Okay.
I'm gonna stay here on the second. Oh, someone missed in his. Oops.
Yep. If they want.
So I'm gonna stay. Oh, there goes Ethan. Let me back up here. Oh, yeah, it's working. Okay, so like I said, if you're in the second fortress right now, PM's find CT to Mirabot. And if you're on the first fortress right now, PM find Larry to Mirabot.
In any case, once you have one of the platforms set up, Murphac, we should be ready to teleport to it pretty soon here. Just to let you all know, what we're going to be doing now is to allow you to see the scenery of the valley and the two fortresses from different angles. And the tour itself, this half of it is now over. We'll be continuing with the prison and Gahreesen 2 next month in the next tour.
Okay, so if you're in the second fortress, it does work if you PM find CT to Mirabot. So please do that. And then as soon as you get to me, feel free to jump to the central pillar and then jump to the roof of Fortress 1.
Okay.
And I'll stay behind until all the cats are herded.
And also, now that we're waiting for everything to get sorted out and Murphac to do his thing, uh, I'll open up another question and answer period.
So there are no written materials concerning the beasts that are growling out in the woods, right?
Other than what Simpson wrote in his notebook, and he doesn't describe them at all, except that they're big. Uh, there's nothing. There's no concept art for them. There is no descriptions written. So yeah, we're pretty much left to our own devices as far as figuring out what they look like. The sounds that they make, which you can occasionally hear uh, in the longer you're here, is the only thing that we have. Zeke was asking if one of those creatures might have done the damage inside of Gahreesen 1, but that doesn't seem very likely since we're talking a Nara building. Uh, the idea that an animal would be able to do that kind of damage to it doesn't seem very likely. Korov said, turns out Gahreesen is the home age of the killer rabbit of Kurbanog.
What is that?
You've never seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
No, I tried to watch it. I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah. Kurbanog. That's it.
Well, I'm here on the bridge, Gahreesen 2 bridge, with just one other explorer. So, Louisa and I, we'll jump to the central pillar and hope everyone else makes it to the roof. Carrie, you better hurry. We're about to jump to the pillar.
Murphac, are you ready to put us on a platform yet?
Well, he should wait until everyone gets to Gahreesen 1, please. Because if he warps me to the platform, Louisa and me, uh,
You're going to
and
rotate.
Carrie will roto out.
You'll rotate it right off of it, yes.
Yeah. Yes, Briggs. It's a huge age with 3 or 4 subworlds, as Larry said. Okay, Louisa. Oh, there goes Curie. Louisa and I are about to jump to the pillar. Wish us luck. Try and catch us if you can. I'll mute my mic in case I start screaming.
Well, somebody got here. That was Louisa.
Oh
Yep.
no, I don't I missed it. I think my mouse was on Twitch instead of Moolah. Okay, go ahead, Larry. I'll make my way there eventually.
Yeah. Anyway, Murphac, as soon as you've got one of the platforms set up, go ahead and take us there so that we can get some photo ops before we run out of time. By the way, something else that we can talk about while we are waiting. I don't know, is Arte still here? If so, would you like to give information about the story night that you're going to be running shortly?
I don't see him here in Gahreesen. Is he here on Twitch?
Not that, but he said he's definitely on in the game. I didn't see him in the list though. But at I believe 1300 key time. Let me go back to the game and take a look. Okay, other events going on today. At 1400 key time, Arte's going to be running Story Night in Sano's Hood. And then he'll repeat it again at 2330 key time in the same location. And at 1600 key time in the new Messengers pub, they're going to have karaoke. And just ask and somebody will tell you what the link is to get the sound for that.
Oh, so they moved karaoke from the karaoke's hood to the pub. That's cool.
Looks like it. That's what the Minnesunda's announcement says.
Look, Larry and I do thank you all so much for all your patience as we work through all these bugs and glitches.
Yep.
Mirfak, he is really our hero here. He just works so hard, and since he's the only bot operator left, he's much in demand. He's the one who choreographs or orchestrates the Nope dance party events. Let's all give him a big hand.
And you're all very welcome. We do our best for you, so it's good that you enjoy them. Goodbye, Jamie. And remember that we'll be continuing with it next month to cover the second half of Gahreesen. That's going to include the prison, Gahreesen 2 itself, the training wall room, and the special maintainer's nexus.
If I ever make it to the pillar, do you want me to jump to the roof and then jump to the pillar with the maintainer's mark on it so we can all link there? Or are we going to skip straight to going down to the lake?
We don't have time anymore. There's only 10 minutes left today.
The lake below you. I don't hope he doesn't make the whole background purple when I'm about to jump to the pillar.
Apparently, there are no promises.
Does that lake have a name? Oh no, no! Please, please do not use the lake for your body functions.
Oh my goodness, I forgot. Earlier, I was when I started talking about Gahreesen, I forgot that I was going to show you something special. When the DRC first arrived in this age, this place was oh, this is the pillar with the maintainer's mark on it. Okay. I didn't know he was going to take us over here. And this, as I mentioned, is inside of a dry moat next to Gahreesen 1. So if you look around, you'll see that we're kind of in a ditch.
Does everyone see the orange maintainer's mark? It's flashing orange right in front of me.
In any case, what I was going to say about Gahreesen 2 is that when the DRC first arrived here, all of the buildings were sealed up for emergency reasons. And so, and that included Gahreesen 2. In other words, the bridges on Gahreesen 2 can be retracted a little bit like drawbridges for additional security in an emergency. And that is what the DRC found when they first got here. So if you'll give me just a moment. Okay, let's get this the right size. Okay, if everyone will look over at the stream window, you'll see what the DRC found when they first got to Gahreesen and got up to the roof of Gahreesen 1. Is everyone seeing the picture? That I do not have an answer to that one, Briggs. Uh, okay, yeah. If you switch over to the Twitch stream, you should be able to see what the picture.
So this is a picture of the second fortress without the bridges?
The bridges are all retracted into the building for security.
Oh, fascinating. I've never seen that before.
So they would have had to basically rappel down to the finger of rock that this is on, walk over there, climb up it somehow, and then figure out how to unlock everything and get in there. Say before they could extend the bridges to where they are now. Say, and this is a fairly rare picture to come across, so I didn't know if any of you had ever seen it before.
And I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but due to linking rules, no one can link from the first fortress to the second fortress because they're both within the same age.
Directly, you have to go outside the age and link back. Say, but it's the same thing. As a general rule, here in Gahreesen, all the linking books were kept in the Guild of Maintainers headquarters building, their guild hall, and so you would not have been able to get to either building without going into there and going through security checks.
Someone is asking, where is Gahreesen 3? Is there a Gahreesen 3?
We're in it. It's what the DRC calls the outdoors.
Oh, I see. So Gahreesen 1 is the first building, 2 is the second building,
And 3 is where we are.
Out. So this is where Murphac puts people on a timeout when they're being naughty. He strands them on this pillar.
Okay. It looks like this is going into extra innings here as we wait for Murphac to build a platform. He seems to be having trouble. So at this point, if you have anything else that you would like to do, the tour is officially over. If you want to stick around and see if we manage to get the platform up that we were planning on building, you're welcome to stay. But thank you, those who are leaving, thanks for coming, and hope to see you again next month.
I'm going to look at my calendar and look what the next date is for the next tour.
That's unknown special, just a spatial K, just as we don't know what it was that damaged it in the first place.
Assuming Larry and Murphac are available, our next tour will be Saturday, October 10th.
Whoops.
Oops.
Okay, just link back to Mirobot, and he's got us out on the center pillar. So this will be a little easier, and he can try again as soon as everyone's back.
So how many of you are here for the first time on a tour?
That platform is where we were trying to go, but they have places, levels and places where the panic link is activated by the game. And when he tried to take us to it, we ran into one. That's why we all wound up back in Relto. He may have to elevate the platform higher in order to get us onto it, but we'll see. We had mentioned before that Gahreesen is one of the most complex models, in as much as there's three main parts to it. So it actually has more panic link zones than is average. They usually only have one. Okay, everyone. Murphag wants us all to PM the bot with the word float. I've just done that. Yeah, once you're floating, normal movement is is offline. So we're just waiting for Murphag to see if he can do what he's planning.
If you have not PM'd float to Mirobot and he warps us down there, you'll Relto out. So it's very important that each one of you PM the word float to Mirobot. Is there anyone who hasn't done that yet? All right, Mirfak. Go ahead and do your thing if you're ready.
Well, that could have worked better. Oh well.
Well, it was a good idea.
Yep. Worth a try. Anyway, Murphak, if you can move the bot to the platform, would that work?
By the way, I think this is the first time we've tried to do this for any of the multiple tours we've had. The past tour, Larry and Zeke always wanted to do this before, and we just didn't have time. So
Actually,
thank you so much for your Oh, go ahead.
no, that's actually not correct. We've built platforms before. What's different this time is that we're trying to build it down near the water level. That's the difference, and that's where we're running
Right.
into all the panic linking.
Yeah, that's what I meant. This is the first time
Okay.
we've tried to go down to the lake.
Say, if that doesn't work, then in a pinch, we can then he can move the platform up above the panic zone. But that's not quite as not going to be quite as spectacular. The
You see,
idea
I assume he disabled the panic zones.
it, in most ages he would, but he mentioned that this one is much more has more than just one.
Well, let's have a dance competition while we're waiting.
Anyway, what I'm wanting Murphak to try is to move the bot to the platform, and then we can test and see whether or not we can link to him there.
The bot can be our guinea pig.
Well, he can move that there by flying it. And if it doesn't link out on the way, then it might work as well for the rest of us. But we shall see.
I'm going to be daring and try to get down there by myself using the bot.
I think I see you down there. Although you're running away from the platform.
Uh-oh. The age thinks that I'm on a platform, so I'm spinning.
You must have started out at one of the on one of the bridges.
I started on the pillar,
Hmm.
but it thinks I'm on the bridge.
That's strange.
If one explorer is brave enough to PM find CT, I'm down here at the lake surface, but I suggest that only one person do it.
You have to use the float command on Mirabot first, because otherwise you're just gonna fall.
Okay, the brave person railtoed out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, PM float to Mirabot first, and then PM find C to Mirabot. Oh, they're all railtoing out. Oops. If only I can. Yeah, there goes Ethan. If if only I could actually stand on the solid JLAC surface.
I tried going down, hit a panic link, and wound up reptoing out. Then when I came back, I ended up inside Gahreesen 2 again. And there's that platform, so near yet so far. If you jump off one of the bridges, you're still part of the model, and you wind up rotating even if you manage to stay inside the age. So that doesn't really work. You have to get to the center platform so that you're part of the Gahreesen 3 model in order to get anywhere. To give you an example, if you use the float command and then the walk command to move away from the bridge, you'll find that even though you're in midair, you're just going to keep circling around the building. Seattle Splendor, we actually can fly after a fashion. it's not a matter smooth, but if you use the float command and then tell the bot walk and then a number, it will move you off in a straight line, regardless of whether or not there's anything under your feet. But you also cannot turn with your movement keys or mouse. You have to use a command called rotate, which is ROT and then a number.
I've been trying to use that command and it's not working. I'm getting an error message.
Yeah, rotate, by the way, is just the first three letters, ROT. I think turn also works. Okay. The bot is on the platform. You want to give I can't do it since I'm on a bridge at a moment, so but you want to try giving a shot of linking to the bot?
I did, but now I'm rotating still.
Okay. I'm going to jump over to the pillar in a minute. Actually, I don't need to wait for the platform. If I just walk off, panic link back to Relto, then I'll be able to link to the bot directly. So I'm giving that a try. Okay, Link.
I think the people who are standing on the pillar, if they type,
it took me to the pillar.
Oh,
so
great.
I'm now
Okay.
going to try W. Okay, W worked. I got down to the platform, but then I immediately panic linked out. So it looks like this may be a lost cause.
Did you float first?
No, I didn't, but I'll give that a try. But W does take you to the bot. Okay, float, W. No, I panic linked again. Okay, yeah, it's beginning to look like this is an experiment that's not going to work.
One last, if we want to throw a Hail Mary pass, you could try floating with a negative number, like float negative 150, and then do the W.
I tried doing that on the pillar before, and it didn't work. I'm going to try walking away from it and see what happens. Yeah, Zeke, that's what we're having trouble with, is that the whoops. Oh, I forgot to float. But because we're trying to get down to a platform and that's that slow, we're running into problems with the panic link zones. So let's see if I can do this right this time. Okay, here we are. Float 0. Walk 10. And then W. Nope, panic linked.
What's frustrating is if you use the float command and then walk towards the pillar
Mm-hmm.
that's at the lake, you'll end up in the rotating subworld. From there, you can float with a negative number to get down to the lake, but you're rotating.
Yeah. Okay, let's. If I go over here. Float 0. Walk 20. Okay, walk 20. The whole idea behind this, Louisa, was just to give you a chance to look around from lake level and see just how tall these buildings are, as well as the scenery around you.
Since our next tour is going to be of Gahreesen 2,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps if Mirafax has time, he can sort of play with it during the next month.
We'll see, but the thing is that I don't think we're going to have very much time with all the places that we need to go. So and I walked through one of the bridges and wound up being part of the model. So, I am merrily rotating around the valley now.
Well, you know what though? Are you at lake level right now, Larry?
No, I'm still well above it.
Okay, because once you get to lake level, I think we should be able to find you.
Okay. Minus 150 to take me down. Oh, that's a little too low. Float. Let's try 50.
Oh, wait a second. No, I tried that already and people railtoed out. I was down at lake level and
Yeah.
people were finding me and they all railtoed out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to work because of the subworld issue.
Yeah, I'm down basically on top of the water now, but I'm going in circles. Let's see, turn 50, turn.
Well, you know,
50.
Mirabot is available almost 24/7. So if you were to send the command bot to Gahreesen, at some other time,
Yep.
send the bot to this Gahreesen, and then you can
Now
PM
here,
help to Mirabot. Oh, go ahead,
excuse me.
Larry. I'm sorry.
Look at the stream. because I'm down here, more or less on the standing on the lake. So this isn't quite what I had in mind, but at least it is a view of the Fort Gahreesen 2 from the water level. I got here by floating about 500, negative 500, about, or maybe negative 550. I did it in stages, so I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna stay with this until at least I get at least a look at Gahreesen 1 from down here. That's a nice angle on that waterfall. Now, if only I could jump off the merry-go-round and onto the platform. But I can't do that. Arte just sent out a notification. Story night begins in 30 minutes. And that's in Sano's hood. PMA go to. Let's see if I can write that down. Let's try A go to minus 942 146 9750. Which worked, but I'm still on the merry-go-round, so.
At this point, I'm going to sign out of Skype, but stay in Gahreesen. So it was so great, and we're so glad all of you came. These tours are really fun. Oh, Ethan is embedded in the pillar. Poor Ethan. I hope that doesn't hurt too much. He's using the float command.
Yeah.
Oh, if you want to float down, you type a negative, like float negative 25. Anyway, I'm signing off of Twitch and the live streams, but I'll be here in Gahreesen. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And thank you, Larry and Mirafak, for the millionth time.
No problem. Bye-bye. Okay, I just tried the a go to command, Murphac and panic linked. I'm gonna float 0 and then try it again and see if that gets me down there. And panic linked again, even though I was floating. Okay. At this point, I do believe that I'm going to go ahead and give up and end the stream at this point. So, goodbye everyone, and see you